So while you're out and about walking with your clients, don't forget that today is your time to shine. This is where you get to really show off what you've learned in the Makeover University class and how you're really going to set yourself apart from all those other realtors out there. So you want to really look up on these houses, figure out what they look like, and figure out what they can turn into. If you can walk into some of these houses that need quite a bit of work and really paint that picture for your clients who can't necessarily see it, they are going to look to you as a guide on how to shop for your house. So rather than just being a realtor that opens the door and lets somebody walk in and look at the house and what do you think at the end of it, you want to be that realtor that walks through the house with them and says, okay, I know that you guys needed a bigger house, needed more bedrooms, bathrooms. Hear me out. At this purchase price, we've got this large renovation budget. We can add this here. We can update this over here. Really paint that picture for them because not a lot of clients are able to see it. So this is your chance to be creative, to really shine, to really show them what you've learned, and really be the best realtor that you can be. Most clients don't have the eye, they don't have the vision, so you've got to be that person for them. All right, so we've done our homework. We've walked through several different homes, taken all of our tours, and your clients have finally decided on a home. So now we've got to think of a couple different things. If the home is ready to go, it's full price, there's no renovation to do to it, then you make your offer as usual. However, if we're going to have a renovation, there's a couple things we need to take into account. The first one is the size of the renovation. If there's only a couple line items, call it a new roof and siding, or call it all new windows, or call it update your HVAC, paint the walls, whatever it might be. If there's only a couple line items that really need to be renovated, we're going to ask that you add one whole week to your inspection period. Now, we're assuming that most realtors do 14 days. So if you usually do 14 days, we're going to ask that you do 21 days. If that renovation is going to be a little bit bigger, there's going to be quite a few line items or a lot of moving parts, we're going to ask for a 3 to 4 week total inspection period. So adding 2 weeks to your typical. And if it's going to be a giant renovation where there's a bunch of moving parts, a bunch of additions, we're ripping a whole roof off and adding a whole nother level, we're going to ask for at least a couple weeks added onto that inspection period. So this is going to give us the opportunity to walk through with the home inspector, to walk through with the HUD consultant, and then walk through with that contractor and give us enough time to get a bid put together, work with the client to make sure it's right, and all the above. So if there is a reno, we want you to add 1 week. And then if there's a medium reno, add 2 weeks. If there's a big reno, give us 3 extra weeks to really make sure we can get a good thorough bid on that house. Now, I know you're thinking, is a seller really going to want to give me all that extra time to do the inspection? Well, typically the homes that we're after, if there's a big giant renovation that needs to be done, that house has probably been sitting for a while, and any seller is just going to be excited that somebody wants it. And so on down. That's why on the smaller projects, only one or two things that need to be done, we don't ask for as much time because we know that time is of the essence in hot markets. The next thing you want to take into account is a little bit of additional verbiage in the conditions at the bottom. We always recommend that our realtors add that the sale is subject to renovation financing and contractor bid. This means that in the event that you guys can't get a bid that fits into the proper parameters, for whatever reason, a contractor isn't able to visit your site, which we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Or if for whatever reason that lender sees the house, just doesn't like what it's going to turn into, or if it doesn't appraise for enough and give us a high enough ARV, there's a number of different things that could happen that adding that little clause into the bottom will just give your client a little bit of extra assurance and give you, the realtor, a little bit of extra assurance that you can back out and your client's earnest money is safe. The last thing to talk about is, and right now this is 2022, the market is hot. So if you do find a house that can turn into something really neat, but it was just listed, you just went to see it, it's going to go fast, go ahead and make an offer on that house, not subject to renovation. And once the client wins that home, you take it off the street. Once a client wins that home, they can do a renovation refinance. within a month afterwards and have all of those renovations rolled into a refi that works about the exact same way as the traditional makeover mortgage process, where you buy and you roll your renovation into it. So if it's a super hot market, just buy the house, take it off the market. That way your client gets the home and can do that reno refi later. All right, so the offer has been made, and now you've got to ask yourself the next question. Is this property a renovation property or not? So if the answer is yes, we want you to do one thing, and that's click here and assign a contractor. When you click there, it's going to send you to a form to fill out. You fill out the form in its entirety, send it to us, and we'll take care of the next steps. If no renovation is needed, then it's time to assign a home inspector. Now, I know every realtor has their favorite home inspector, and if you want to use them, by all means, go ahead. However, we are going to recommend that if your client is an FHA buyer, we're going to recommend that you use one of Makeover Consulting and Inspections inspectors. The reason for that is all of our home inspectors are also HUD consultants. So as you've learned in the past, the HUD consultant is needed for an FHA renovation project. So in the event that the home inspector is walking through, checking all of his boxes, and finds a bunch of red flags, he can take off that home inspector hat, put on the HUD consultant hat, and now he's already there. He can take additional pictures, fill out additional paperwork, and have the job done. So rather than having two people show up to the house, we just have the one. So for that, you can click here and assign a home inspector to your project. Okay, so what's next? So you've got the contractor or the HUD consultant on site, and we've talked about that in previous modules now, so you know what's going on there. Now it's time to work through the bid, make sure that the client and the contractor are on the same page, have the HUD consultant submit paperwork, and have that appraisal ordered. You can kind of look at the appraisal a little bit like your report card. So if you've done your homework properly, which means you've searched for the right houses, you've watched a number of different renovation videos, and you have a general idea of what things should cost, and you've run some good comps to figure out what that ARV is going to look like, we should have an appraisal come back that is at or above our purchase price plus our renovation price. So as long as that appraisal price comes back and it's high enough, we're good to go. It's like hitting the jackpot. So then we just schedule closing, we go sign the papers, and the renovation begins. However, if the appraisal comes back low, there's two different options that we have. The first one is if everything in that renovation bid is deemed FHA minimum standards, or everything in there is some kind of safety issue or health issue, something like that, then that means in order to get that house up to that appraisal price, you've got to buy it for less. So having a bid in hand that shows here's the minimum to get this house up to livable standards is a really good tool to use to help negotiate a cheaper purchase price on that home. So if we need $10,000, we got to go back to that seller and say, hey, this bid takes care of the minimums. We're not talking granite countertops and tile showers. We're taking care of the minimum stuff here. So we really need to drop that price 10 grand, and then we're good to go. Oftentimes that seller is going to understand what's going on. They understand that the renovation is what the renovation is, and if they drop it 10, they can get rid of it. So drop the price, sell it, we're good to go. The other option is, in the event there are a lot of bonuses, granite countertops, tile showers, built-in concrete grill in the backyard, things that you would call luxuries, we may have to do away with some of those. So if we need to find, $5,000, for example, maybe instead of those 2 tile showers, we're going to drop those down to 2 fiberglass showers. Instead of doing granite in the upstairs and in the downstairs, maybe we do granite up and Formica down low. So we either have to work on the purchase price of the house, or we have to work on the cost of the renovation. One of those two to make sure that that price matches that ARV. So look at that appraisal coming back as your report card. And if the price appraises properly, then, awesome job. You did great. If it appraises low, then we may need to go back to the drawing board and figure out where it is we went wrong, ask questions, watch some more videos, and get ready for that next one to come up so it doesn't happen again. So we've made it through negotiations. Either the appraisal was high enough, or we got our purchase price down, or we renegotiated and took a few things out of the bid, whatever it might be. Once we get our costs right, we schedule closing. From here, the Makeover Homes professionals will take it. So our contractors and our HUD consultants will help your client push this project all the way to the finish. We'll be there the whole time to talk to the lender, to talk to the client, to talk to the professionals, to make sure that their renovation is as seamless as possible. So once that clear to close is scheduled, you're done. Your next job is to now go out and search for more opportunities, search for more clients, search for more homes that fit this bubble, that fit this mold. One awesome thing that I've noticed some realtors starting to do is if they see a house that has been listed for a long time that needs some work, that an investor hasn't quite scooped up yet, it's a really good idea to walk through that house, take a video, and shoot a video of what you would do. So now that you have this new knowledge, you have this new power, you really need to tell people about it. So schedule a showing. Go by yourself, walk through the house, videotape it, and say, hey, I'd put all new floors down, all new paint. We need to add a garage in the back. And if we do this master suite addition, this house just became awesome. And you already know that house is going to cost X, and the renovation is going to cost, give or take, Y, to give you that after renovated value. So that's a really good way to go out and create more makeover jobs and really set yourself apart as the makeover realtor in your area. So now it's time to sit back, wait for another realtor or another realty client to come your way, or go out and search for them. Either way, go show off your talents, tell everybody about the Makeover Mortgage Process and how awesome it really is.